And we're live.
Thank you, Brenda. Welcome, everyone. My name is Laura Waghorn, and I'm the Sales and Training Manager here at Chiral. And today I am joined by Barbie Bassett and Laurie Rosicki, who are both GLP-1 users. So we're going to find out all about their personal journeys and how using these medications have impacted their lives. So Barbie, firstly, welcome. And thank you for sharing your journey with us. So tell us your experience with GLP-1s for weight loss, and how long have you been on them, and what prompted you to explore them, like this option?
Well, great question, Laura. Thank you for having me. So I have been on the GLP-1 for about 8 months. And what prompted me to look into this is I come from the beauty pageant industry and the television industry. So I'm a former Mrs. Mississippi, and I've been in television now for about 29 years. And unfortunately, both beauty pageants and television they're both superficial. People care about what you look like. Nobody wants to tune into television and see someone who is overweight and unhealthy looking. So I had tried literally being in both of those industries. I've tried everything. I've been on every single diet there ever was, every diet that had a book, every diet that had a pill, had a drop, had a powder. I mean, I've tried it all. And unfortunately, I've messed up my metabolism since being a teenager and trying everything. So when I discovered that I was eligible for the GLP-1, I immediately was intrigued. And literally my first week with the injection, I was able to lose a couple of pounds, and the food noise was gone for me in the first week. So this was finally something that worked, having tried many other diets and eating programs and all the other mechanisms that most people have tried. While I may have lost weight, it didn't stay off. And the food noise certainly kept coming around. So this has been a game changer for me in many ways.
Yeah, and that's something we hear a lot. People have tried to do it by themselves. They've tried every pill and potion and everything that's out there, and nothing's worked for them. So I'm really glad that this is something that's working for you. So Laurie, welcome. It's great to have you here. So tell us a bit about your journey. Like, what made you get started on the GLP-1?
Hi, thanks for having me, Laura. So actually, if you would have asked me last January if I would have been, or February, if I would be doing these injections, I would have thought absolutely not. I had heard so much, negative about them that it made me worry. And I decided, I've tried it all. I actually had talked to a friend of mine that had done the weight loss surgery. And I actually was it was actually starting to creep in the back of my mind that maybe that I might go to those extremes. I was feeling very, I was actually hiding out from anybody. I didn't want anybody to see me. I had gained so much weight. I have never been the weight that I was before I started. I was around 215 to 18 pounds. When I was in high school, I was 110 and I weighed 115 pounds until I was about 30 years old. So that's when the hormones and the insulin resistance and all that kicked in. And I got to thinking, the media isn't always right on these things. So I started asking around. I started talking to my doctors. I started looking into the medication myself and doing my own research about it. And lo and behold, I was like, no, wait a minute. Okay, this is awesome. We are not taking away from diabetics. That was one that was on the top of my list because I'm like, I don't want to do that. In my findings, I found out that the mechanism for the pens are from overseas. And so that is the reason for the shortage. But I also found all the other things that this helps with besides just obesity to be rather astounding. I mean, I can't wait till it all hits out and all the research is out there. But I decided after doing my, sorry, Kaz, no. after doing my own research to sorry, after doing my own research to get started. And I started when Chiral started, I was on the wait list and got started right away. And I lost 55 pounds in 8 months, and I've maintained it for 2. I'm going to have to let him out. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. So, Barbie, you mentioned about the food noise. Have you made any changes in your diet? What's going on with your appetite, your eating habits? What happened to that?
Well, it's quite intriguing to not have the food noise anymore, to not think about food all the time and what I'm going to fix and what I'm going to eat and just those types of things. So that has been a relief for me to not have food constantly control my thoughts. As far as what changes that I have personally made, I don't know what happens when you turn 40, but something happens. And things that you used to be able to eat all the time and it not bother you, all of a sudden cause inflammation, or at least that's what I found. So for me personally, I really cut back on bread. I cut back on anything white, like white pasta, white rice. I used to eat fruit all throughout the day. I love fruit, but I found that I was sabotaging my own weight loss in eating things that are good for me. So I've backed off on the amount of fruit that I eat. I still eat fruit. I'm drinking a lot more water than I think I've ever drank before. So those are really the adjustments that I have made. Now, let me preface that by saying that if I want pizza, if I want bread, I eat it. If I'm really wanting spaghetti, I eat it. If I really want, here in the South, we eat gumbo, which has rice in it. So if I want white rice, I do eat it. But I don't want it as much as I used to. So I would say I'm more limiting those types of foods that cause inflammation. Peanut butter, has a lot of protein in it, but it's also loaded with carbs. And I was finding that I guess it's the peanuts, legumes, beans, and those types of things were causing gut inflammation for me. So just backing off on some of those foods, not necessarily doing away with them completely, has been really big for me and has helped me even lose more weight throughout this journey.
And did you find it quite easy to stop having those foods?
Oh my goodness, yes. Because I don't crave them. I don't crave the starchy foods. I don't crave the carbs like I did before. It's so crazy to be able to walk into a pizza place or an Italian place that's got a lot of pastas and breads going there, and it just not speaking to me like it used to. I mean, again, if I want it, I have it, but a couple of bites and I'm done.
Yeah, I hear that. I do. So many people say that they've just changed what they eat because they just don't want the same foods anymore. So, Laurie, what about you? Have you made any specific changes to your diets? What's happened with your appetite?
Oh my goodness. You know what's crazy is I feel like I'm having to sometimes have to force myself to eat because I'm just not hungry. And I can't tell you the last time I had potato chips. I mean, it has been, I don't even know, like, but maybe when I started, it's been so long. And sweets are my downfall. Sweets, I have some underlying conditions that cause inflammation and this and that and pain. And so my go-to is like chocolate and sweets and whatever. And if it's laying around the house, it'll get popped in my mouth, or used to, just because it was laying there. Um, the other day, my husband had brought home some blueberry donut holes for my granddaughter. I used to love those things. I put one in my mouth and I had to spit it back out. It was just so sweet. Like, sweet is not the same. It's too sweet. So I've done that. I don't deprive myself. I think that's how both, or a lot of diets, uh, people fail because they are feeling deprived. A lot of things take away fruits. I love that I can have my fruits with this. This is like the one thing that I could eat fruit all the time. I just don't have to feel deprived. And, eating, I try to do, the half a plate of vegetables and then the protein and then the the good carbs. So I try to go with that route the best I can. But like Barbie said, if I want to have spaghetti, I'm feeling like spaghetti, I'm going to have it, but I'm not going to eat. So I can eat versus, the massive dinner plates that we have. I eat on a dessert plate now. So, just smaller portions.
Yeah, I love that. Love that, smaller portions. And if you want something, have it. That's a great attitude. You don't want to starve yourself or anything like that. So this is a really popular one that I'm going to ask you now. I'm going to ask you about any side effects or challenges that you've personally encountered. So do you want to go ahead, Laurie, and just tell us about yours?
To be honest, I had a little bit with semaglutide, more than I did with tirzepatide. I'm using tirzepatide now, and I don't have any problems. I actually, once in a great while, I used the nausea medication, but not really. I mean, probably the worst is constipation, but I'm going to be honest. Had it before I started. So, I mean, that's just part of me. So I use something every day and it takes care of that. So I really didn't have a lot with tirzepatide.
Okay. And what about you, Barbie? Have you had any of those side effects? How's it affected you?
So, like Lori, I started on the semaglutide, and I lost 35 pounds on that, and then I switched to the tirzepatide, and I've lost an additional 16 pounds off the tirzepatide. But unlike Lori, I have not had the first side effect with either medication.
Hey.
And I was nervous about that because, again, just like Lori said, I had read everything. I saw videos of other people talking about how they had been sick on either one of those medications. So I was nervous about it, but I have not had the first side effect at all.
That's really good, because medication, they can come with side effects and every single person's going to be different. So I'm really happy to hear you two have been quite plain sailing and not had those side effects. So obviously when you bring in something into your life like this and you make those lifestyle changes with the foods, and have you brought in any exercise routines? Are you doing anything different to how you used to do it, Barbie?
I'm really not. Before, I had a bad habit of over exercising because that's what we hear that we're supposed to do if we're trying to lose weight is exercise more, do more cardio, and deprive ourselves of foods. So, and that wasn't working for me, obviously. So, with being on this program, I've actually backed off of the amount of exercise that I was doing. I'll walk several times a week, about 45 minutes. I do have a treadmill, so when the weather here in the South is not good, I can always hop on the treadmill. And I do some body weight exercises like lunges and stretches and those types of things, some light weights that I do. But that's really what I was doing before. It's just so amazing that when you combine the GLP-1s along with doing exercising, how much more weight I've been able to lose, as well as how much healthier I am now.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So, Laurie, I know you're very active in your everyday life as it is, but have you changed your exercise routines? Have you done anything differently?
I have not yet, but I have bought new pedals for my Peloton that I bought 2 years ago that I haven't used. So I plan to get started on moving. I feel like losing 55 pounds, I really need to start toning. And I really feel to be able to maintain that weight, you've got to change that diet. You've got to add some movement in. It doesn't have to be crazy. Like Barbie said, just simple walking. I live in Nebraska, so I don't know, one day it was 73, the next day it was 21 here this week. So I never know Thank goodness I do have equipment in the basement that I can use too. But right now, I have enough. I have many animals, and I work with them a lot, and they keep me fairly active. But I do realize that I do need to get moving.
Yeah. And that's a big thing, because even though people come in, they lose the weight, they might change their eating habits. Changing that lifestyle kind of just completes that whole element of using this as a tool to make those changes. So definitely introduce some more exercise, Laura. Let's do that, get you toned. So I would love to hear some of your personal wins. Bobby, you shared how much you'd lost, but what other health benefits on your personal journey have you experienced?
Yeah, well, similar to Lori, losing 51 pounds has been huge for me. I'm now back down to my high school and college weight, and I have not seen that in a very, very long time. Last January, a year ago, so January 2023, when I had my yearly exam, my blood pressure, and I wrote it down, was 163 over 92. I was not on any type of medication before then, but my doctor was very concerned about that. I also had slightly elevated cholesterol numbers. So when I came home and told my husband what my blood pressure numbers were, he's got a medical background. He said, "This is not good." So just last month, January 2024, I went back and had my yearly. And having now lost the weight, my blood pressure has gone from 163 over 92 to now 119 over 79. Needless to say, my doctor was blown away and said, "This is what you've needed the whole time." My cholesterol has also dropped by several points. It's back down now into the normal range, and I feel incredible.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. And you look incredible as well. You
Thank
really
you.
do. So, Laurie, have you had any other personal goals or any other health benefits from your personal journey?
I have. So I was on medication for swelling in my hands and my feet, and my blood pressure was high, getting higher. Um, I am now off of two medications that I was taking for the swelling. Um, and I was taking a Lasix and a spironolactone, and I'm no longer on those medications because my blood pressure started dropping to too low. So they had to get me off the medication because it was causing it to go. I was running way low. So I have been able to get off of two medications, excuse me, two medications from it. And I went and got my ring resized before I started it because I needed to make my wedding ring bigger. Now I need to go make it smaller. So that's just a simple, like a non-scale victory that I love. I wish I would have done this for anybody getting started. I wish I would have measured. I did not. I've got some measurements, but I didn't measure with throughout the process, and I really wish I would have. My husband is actually he joined me on this. That's not like my husband to do something like that, and he actually reminds me. He makes me give him his injections, but he reminds me to do it. And his blood pressures have been so much better since he started. So I think there's so many things that this has given me. I have, I feel like moving. I feel like getting out. I don't feel like I have to hide in my house anymore. I really would hide in my house and not want to go anywhere or do anything because I didn't want people to see me. So, I mean, I was given my life back and my confidence back.
Wow. Yeah, and that confidence, that's a huge thing for people, and they do hide away if they don't feel great and they think, I'm overweight, or they're embarrassed.
Mhm.
That's a horrible place to be. So, hearing your stories is so good for people who are looking for something to help them. So I want to thank you both for sharing today with everybody. And it's such valuable information, for those who are considering using this medication. And I know that your stories are so relatable to so many people out there. So guys, if you're watching this and you're considering the medication, you know, and you want somebody to talk, you can reach out to either of these ladies, you know, and they're going to be there to support you and just to be there as somebody to talk to as you're going through your own personal journey. So thank you again, Barbie. Thank you again, Laurie. It's been amazing. And if anybody does have any questions, we will go back and review those after this call. So great talking with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.